a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes, and you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Take me out, I wanna see big, big lights, they shine on me. I wanna lay my head and feel the beat. That's my way. That's my way. Take me out, I wanna hear big, big drums.
So we've had quite a lot of wind, so we had to take our gazebo down because unfortunately it was blowing against our drum and has scratched it here and also here. I've let my dad know. So we'll see. Anyway, getting back to what we were doing on the truck. So we made quite a bit of progress yesterday. It was getting a bit late and windy, and yeah, it wasn't very pleasant. So we got this final cross member out, which has the airbag attachments there. So we've lifted them out. You can see Lee's all of the cable ties, all of the key ring tags that I spoke about. So they're named, so driver side R steer for rear steer, and then that goes through and then over to this side, the yellow cable tie. So everything's been tagged, and I've tagged it hopefully too much because yeah, and I've taken photos, we've printed them out as well, so we've got a record of everything where it was. And yeah, so the main valve over there, that's been taken out now. We did that yesterday. All of the airlines that were coming to the back here have been tagged, been marked and put into the container out the way in a safe space. These will get taken off today or over the next couple of days. We'd like to have done it sooner, but we've got a big job on the concrete lorry, so I'm actually working on the truck later today. So I thought I'd just come and do a catch up. We've got the wheel arch arms off except two. We've got the fuel tank off, the brackets off, the prop shaft off, the rear shocks are off, and that one there is in really good condition, but the other three needed cleaning up and they'll get painted. We've got the brackets off. Oh, there's an air pack there I haven't moved, which I should have, but this one I've tagged as well. See, rear steer written on there. So that will all get cleaned up. This part of the chassis will actually be cut off till about here, so we won't clean any of that off as such, but the bracket itself, that will be moving, so we're going to clean all this and repaint it. So yeah, there's a lot of airlines to come out just yet, but all of this is unbolted. That's unbolted. That shock is being a pain to get off but we'll work on that when we when we get a chance. Same as these airbags here, we've undone that side, but this side is proving to be a bit tougher than we would like. And back to here, I've got the fuel filter off and just to the side. But yeah, really good progress this last week, as we've had a bit of a slow few weeks due to the workload. Really, we really have been absolutely flat out, so that is a good thing, but also we need to get this truck on the road and have it earning money as soon as we can. So it's when you get stuck into it, we've got to go for it. When it's good weather, we've got to go for it, and sometimes it's going to mean really late nights in a row, and then when it rains and pours, if there's nothing to do on the inside, then that's the time we're going to take off. So I've been tagging these air valves, and then what we've been doing is tagging the actual valve, then I've been tagging the ports, and whatever airline, like this one here, I've tagged that as it goes to another valve, and I've tagged that. But it's so easy to make a mistake, and I have just spotted one that I was about to make. Is I went off this tag here thinking that was the name of this air valve, but it's not the name of the air valve, it's the name of the air line that went all the way to the rear one air pack. So I nearly labelled all of these load sensor driver side rear one, but rear one is over here, and I nearly made that mistake because of this airline here. So it's yeah, I'm gonna have a copper and just think and recalibrate, shall we say. But yeah, so easy to make a mistake, but that's why it's best to take the time and get it done right. But yeah, well, we have certainly made some amazing progress the last couple of days. This is the back axle now, with all the attachments off. As far as all this has been detached, so that's basically the rear steer third axle. Everything on the inside has all been disassembled. So that's all done. That side, same here. And when there's a few of us, we're going to roll this axle backwards to there, and then I can just clean up this axle, and then we'll get the spray gun out and we'll give it a good coat of paint once it's been cleaned up, like the rust and stuff like that. Yeah, so that would be good. We've taken the computer out, which I'll show you in the cabin in a second. That's been taken out and all of the cabling has been disconnected. There's a little bit of a spaghetti junction here that we're figuring out right now. So I was explaining before, I had nearly made a mistake because I tagged the input of this, I think it's an ABS sensor, and that like fed another regulator at the back, and I nearly labelled the regulator after that one at the back, which would have been a bit of a pain because we would have known which one was the right one. So luckily doing it slow and taking time and checking it again, so it's been a bit tedious, but I think we're on the right track. I've taken photos, loads of them, printed them out. I've got copies on my phone. We've got the video and everything to fall back on in case we get a little bit lost, but I think we're in good in good form, so I'm pleased with that. I managed to get, I didn't get this bolt out, but I have got it like I've unbolted it from up here, so it is completely detached now from the truck, so that's no problem. I'll be able to clean this up on the actual truck, so I'm not worried about that. We can leave that. All of this has been disconnected as well. Yeah, I'm really pleased. We're starting to clean up. Today I've been underneath the cab, and that has given, so I've like rubbed all the rust, the surface rust. You'll be able to see underneath, you can see the red, so I've painted that on all of the inside, so when we do spray the cab, I'll lift up the cab and I'll give the underneath a really good coating of paint as well, and like that has just prolonged the life of that cab for sure. Especially, you know, we're based in Guernsey in the Channel Islands, and it's an island, and we're, like, the wind you can hear is the sea breeze, and there's salt in the air, so our trucks are prone for rot. So, you know, doing as much as we can now is going to save a lot of hassle in the long run. So I've done a couple more of those, got them painted, cleaned up. So it's a bit dark here. Okay, so where are we? Right, this here, so it's a right mess because we're struggling for space at the moment. But this here, if you can tell, that was sitting inside the chassis, and this is the computer that runs the rear steering, so it synchronizes it, levels the suspension, all with the front and the back. They're all connected, and this here is probably a very expensive piece of technology in there. This is the main air valve. This is the valve that controls the air brakes, the air suspension, the ABS, and it just links everything and diverts the air to where it needs to go from the main air compressor in the truck. So on here you can see this is where the air lines go in. These are called push fittings. So they're quite literally, this is, I don't know if you can tell, there's like a ridge, and you can push these down a little bit. They look like a suspension, and you push them down and you push in the airline, which is, this is like, there's different sizes, but this is the ones that we're using. So then that pushes in there and it stays, and then that will follow through to, say, an airbag, which is the air suspension. Just to show you what an air fitting is a bit easier, I've got different types here, and this would be like a splitter valve. So like you can have an airline coming from, let's say, the main compressor, and then that would go off to, say, the left and right. But yeah, you push. You see that? And then yeah, it slips in. So that's like when you get an air leak or something like that, this is how we usually repair it on the road. But yeah, they're very handy things to have. So yeah, just to explain what this is. So we've got little ones of these as well, where say this airline is going to follow down the chassis to another little air pack. I call them air packs. I don't know if that's a regulator or whatever. And then that takes it directly to, say, the airbag or the air suspension. So there's many of these across the, I think there's probably 6 or 8 of them on this truck plus this one. And yeah, so that's just a little explanation on how this the air works on the truck. So you can see here the main compressor is that side or that side of the truck, and then it runs to air tanks, which we've taken out a few weeks back. You would have seen in the first episode, and that supplies then these air packs through lines like this. And we also have a few smaller size ones like this. So to get you to understand then, well, I'm probably trying to explain to myself as well. So so this here would be an ABS sensor, and that's supplied air, and this here is a I'm trying to think now, a load sensor. It says there, look. So it's a load sensor, and this here controls like the weight. So like if you've got more weight on the left or the back or the front, this here will regulate its level and create its ride height. And so this is a really important one, which then feeds other ones. So it basically can be a bit of a maze. So that's why we're spending all this time labeling. Like this one here will be driver side rear steer 2. So at the back there was 2 air packs. You got 1 and 2, so that one would have gone to the air pack number 2, and then that air pack has also been tagged, and so on. So just to then explain, these here are airlines that would have come in through here, which would be from another air pack again. This here is actually the brake chamber. So when the air basically fills it up and it compresses it and applies the brake as such. At the back here is a release. So to move this axle, we've had to bypass and undo this. So this actually doesn't have any brakes at the moment, but it's chocked, so it won't go anywhere. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense, because it makes a bit of sense to me as well. So I'm learning as I go off the mechanic, and he's really been brilliant just explaining in dummy terms to me, and I hope I'm passing it on to you well enough for you to understand. And this here is where that computer that I showed you, that was in there, and it sits in there then. But yeah, we're working day and night at the moment, but the weather's not too bad, you know. Don't want to jinx it, but it's starting to spit now, so I'm going to call it a day. But I'm really pleased with the progress we made this last week. We're going to start working now Friday nights and Monday nights, me and the mechanic. A lot of this I've been doing on my own, just with direction, but like when the mechanic's with me, we're gonna work pretty well. He's happy for the camera to be on and everything as well, so that's cool of him. But yeah, watch this space. Progress has been made. I feel a bit more at ease now. It's been a bit of pressure, you know, there's money tied up in it as well, and it's yeah, it's been good. People helping me out is amazing. My dad especially. I mean, the work he's done on that mix has been great. It's looking surprising what a lick of paint does, because it looks like new. Yeah, and Damo, Jeff, Lee, yeah, it's just been a great when you got the right team, you can achieve anything, isn't it? It doesn't take you know, it can be difficult sometimes trying to get these ideas of mine off the floor, because I do tend to think big sometimes, and it's only you're only as good as the people around you. So thank you to y'all. Right, enough waffle.